Um, One of my favorite scenes in the film is when she meets this boy and they meet him. And so I'm wondering what it was like to shoot that sequence in particular because I was a little bit devastated, but like, and I think a lot of people are kind of reacting in a very nice way in that sense. So how do you prepare for this momentous sequence and to because there's a kid involved, and so like to have him kind of play naturally and still get the performance that you got from him, and then to have Nicole like that.
You know, we were finding a way. I wanted the kid to be around during set, days before, and just get used to being on set because he's very unknown. I mean, inexperienced. But Nicole, being more of a method person, found that it might interrupt her flow of the character. So if he was there all the time on set, it would maybe knock her out of some kind of reality that she needed to prepare. So he couldn't really do that. And I was like, oh, okay, so you're always trying to respect everybody's thing. But then, like, how do I get this kid relaxed? So I would hang out with him more by myself, and on a couple days that she wasn't working, and so he could just pal around with the crew and have a good time. But to his credit, when we did those all important park scenes with the two of them, it was very challenging because we had the one bad thing about shooting in New York is airplanes. And I think that day, there was a plane every 40 seconds. And it's not the kind of scene you can loop. So we would have to like pause and pick up the scene and pause and wait for the plane and pick up the scene. Which is where a digital format made sense because we could roll the camera for a long time. And it was just the planets aligning that we got the performances we did between the airplanes and with sound guys helping to preserve that, because the kid just pulled it out of himself. He could have crumpled under the pressure of a giant star, but he had this center of gravity that I think it made her game better too, because he was so real, and she had to key right in to be as real as he was, and they were totally in sync, for those days. Horrific days for me, thinking, do we have the plane's going to kill us? While they're talking, planes are going, and you can't hear them, and they're crying, and you're like, oh my God, this is the take. Torturous. I try to have two cameras going at the same time over their shoulders, so we would keep the performances editable and they could do whatever they want, which I did a lot of. So again, it was like everything we could do technically to help the actors be freer and better.
When you look at your kind of filmography, this film doesn't seem like it's on par with Hedwig and the Short Bus, but yet it seemed like a natural, like when I saw Michael, sure, why not, and so was that one of the challenges for you also, because everything that you've done prior seems to be like from you, and not that this isn't, but I'm saying it's like it's adapted from another source material, so.
It was a little challenging, but it was exciting. As an actor, I was an actor for 20 years, and I would enter in on someone else's script or context and add what I could. As a stage director, directed a Tennessee Williams play in New York. I put my stamp on it, used the stage directions as part of the dialogue. It's like I've always been adding myself to
She's awesome.
to other people's stories and love it. I produced Tarnation, the documentary. I'm producing an animated feature by the guy who did the art in Rabbit Hole, doing a 2D animation feature and producing, not directing, but helping. So this just felt like of a piece with that. It's just that I was used to having final say. In this case, I had some people who outranked me, and between the three of us, with one tiebreaker, we could get. I am happy with what we got, but it just took longer and was a little more irritating. But they were often right, and I have to bow to that. But things I really didn't think were going to work, we were open enough to see with audiences and say, you know what, you were right. Very hard to say.
By making a film like this, and people see it, and people will react nicely to the performance, that also maybe allows you for your next project. Do you think it'll make it easier for you, or maybe more actors that maybe were not receptive to maybe doing some stuff? Is that,
Maybe.
That kind of
Yeah.
to you?
I mean, there's always people who are interested in whatever you do before, hopefully, if you're doing it with honesty. And, you know, they may not have been able to go there sexually for Short Bus, but like the sensibility a lot and was interested. I always have interesting people who want to work with me, and there's people I'm dying to work with to just see what that partnership might be like. Imagine working with I just did a Dior commercial with Marion Cotillard and Ian McKellen, which was wonderful. Just these beautiful instruments, you know, working together, and Judi Dench and Meryl Streep. You know, these are people I dream of working with and finding the right thing where we can have a good time. You know, and these are also people who are known to be cool, which is just as important as their talent. If someone is brilliant and a dick, too old. Too old to go there. There's always someone as brilliant who's nice.
Last question: is it true that Hedwig is coming back to the stage? I read that somewhere.
There's a push to get Hedwig on Broadway. I don't know, but the problem is like you have to do 8 shows. I could never do 8. You know, how do I do 6 and you sell the others? You know, it's a big question. Sharing the shows with someone, but who wants to share? The originator. Maybe someone else opens it. You know, for the first few months, and I step in later. Less of a commitment, more fun, you know, so there's a lot of permutations, and also finding the perfect Hedwig who can do, you know, sing the shit out of it, but bring in the tourists. 8,000 seats a week for 6 months is not like one concert at Radio City. You know, that's 5,000 seats, and that's it. You can't do a show at Radio City every week. So it's in the offing. I don't know how long it's going to take. Like I said, I'm working on this animated feature called The Ruined Cast by this incredible graphic novelist, Dash Shaw. Working on a Neil Gaiman adaptation, you know, kind of a punk era British extraterrestrial story. And we'll see what happens. Maybe Rabbit Hole will bring some other things.